I'm flipping through Guitar Player magazine. I'm 19 years old. And it was an issue called The Unknown Greats. And Danny Gatton is on the cover. And he has this half mask on. And it was a great cover. I still have it. And I'm learning about Danny, and he was from Maryland. But also, I didn't go out to the clubs a lot when I was a young kid and stuff, so I hadn't heard of him. And then I learned about his music and all that stuff, how great he was later. And so I'm flipping through the magazine, and then there was an article called The Fastest Man Alive. And this is when that whole shredder thing was dying down a bit, and the hair metal and all that. So I'm reading Kirk Hammett and a couple other guys talking about Shawn Lane and how he lived in Memphis, and he played every night to put food on the table for his family, and the shredding he was doing was just outlandish. Little did they say, and little did I know, he was also great at milking one note for all it's worth, because fastest man, yeah, he wowed a lot of people with his technique, but that guy was so compositional and musical. When you get these guys that sit there and try to copy his licks, they don't have composition. They're not close to being the musical persona that Shawn was. It's much more to him than playing fast. There was the way he lived his life, because the way that you play is the way that you live. You live how you play. Michelle and Cello, I'm a quoter on that, because it's true. If you're open, your playing's going to be open. Or you're going to know how to control certain music. You're not going to approach everything the same way, just like you are in real life, right? So when fast forward, I meet Shawn Lane. I'm in Memphis, and I'm doing a demo for a company called Ardent. And they were shopping artists. At the time, they had landed Eric Gales with a record deal, right? And he was signed to a 2-album deal or something with Elektra. So they were looking at me, and all I had were demos that this record company was interested in, and they didn't do anything with me. So I went there to reshop and do my things. And the guy I was hooked up with is Angelo Earl, and he produced my demo there, and it was just a great time. And he said, "Hey man, my friend is Shawn Lane." I said, "Wow, I read about him." And we went to his house, and next thing I know, I'm in Shawn's house, and it's 3 o'clock in the morning. And you know how we watch YouTube now? He had all that stuff on VHS. We watched this John McLaughlin with Sunship on drums. I'd never seen. We watched Holdsworth. He had the Alan Holdsworth joint on Laserdisc, and at that time they were as big as albums. They were this big, right? And it was great. The technology then was, we were getting into surround sound, home units, theater units, and wow, I could go for days about that. But anyway, I wound up months later. He asked me to come to Memphis to join his band, and he said, "Yeah, I got this deal with Warner Brothers." Jim Ed Norman, same guy who signed Jocko, Take Six, signed me, Warner Brothers Nashville. Because at that time, there were a few people in the record companies that still had an ear for music. And it was great. It was 8 months in Memphis. So when you're 21 years old, 22, 8 months seems like a year. Now, 8 months is wow, right? And we toured, and we played clubs. I moved to Memphis, and we played clubs. The South End, we played, I can't really remember the names. I'm going to have to go back into my diaries, but a lot. There was some Irish joint that was on the main strip there. But, Murphy's, right? And we played a bunch of places, and then we went on tour. And so the record company or somebody had assigned him to Joe Priesnitz's management, and Joe Priesnitz was the manager of Eric Johnson. And through Joe Priesnitz, he hooked us up with Steve Bondo. I haven't seen this guy since. I've been trying to find him. I'm going to find him because I'm doing a documentary on Shawn. And, it was a promo tour only. I got paid for that tour, but the other guys didn't, I don't think. Excuse me. So I mean, and just there being and living in Memphis at that time, and being up close to Shawn and his life and his family, I was really in the right time because it was quiet. It was such a unique time, and it wasn't about being a superstar. So we toured and did stuff. We toured the West, and I'd never really checked the West out. I'd been to California, but I never drove cross country out there. I always flew out there. So it was great to go through Texas and to go through Arizona, New Mexico, Santa Fe, and Houston. The first time I was in Austin, it was the first time I saw a Whole Foods. That was big back then. It was like this big supermarket of food with live lobsters. That was really deep because I think Austin was like the hub of Whole Foods before they became like really national. All this new stuff was happening. We get out to California. We're touring the coast of California, San Luis Obispo, LA, and a lot of other joints. Our last show was in Oxnard, California, and that was a very nice day. I always dream about going back to that day because it was just a wonderful day. We had a midday gig or early afternoon, and we ate at this 50s diner, 50s themed diner. I just remember it so well. And that was the last show we did, and that became the tracks of the Powers of 10 live record. I had DATs, and I would give the DATs to the sound guy to record stuff. And that's what I gave to Shawn to make the album. He added tracks. I really don't like what he did with the record because with my drum solos, he liked my playing so much that he featured every drum solo back to back instead of just letting the tracks play through on the record. But I have all that stuff and maybe I could re-release it. But anyway, Shawn was something. And then he said to me after the tour, isn't it better to just do big shows only instead of playing all the time? And we just did. And I was like, dude, I'm 22 years old. I'm living in Memphis. I do not want to sit around Memphis and we're not playing all the time like we used to do. Check this out. I'll go out to LA, and when you're ready to up and do your thing, let's go. So Shawn just decided to become kind of a recluse and be who he was. He didn't want to pick up momentum with the steam that was going on. He had the record company send PR people and A&R people out to check out how to market this guy. He really had everything in the palm of his hands, but he chose to just be what he was. And when it comes down, some people will say, well, his music wasn't that commercial. It didn't sound like this. And that has nothing to do with success. Success has everything to do with relationships in any business. A relationship has everything to do with how that relationship is going. Because people will take chances on your music even if it goes against the grain. And if people believe in it, that's what makes it successful. It's not what's hot at that time. A lot of people now are trying to get the algorithm of things. And that's not, still to this day, that's not how it works. Because you could be doing something unique that no one believes in. I mean, the other day on YouTube, there's a girl who has a video on how to drink water. Imagine how people were dehydrated before that video came out. So I'm just saying, just step out on a limb and do it. Just to do it. Don't even do things for success. But in Shawn's case, we did some more recordings at the house, and he would later release that. But I moved out to LA, and we kept in touch and stuff. But when I moved back East Coast, my mom had accompanied me on the ride back, and we stopped by Shawn's house to get some rest and everything. And it was just great. It was just great. But Shawn never really wanted to pursue being a solo act because of his personality. He was a bit of a recluse and a germaphobe I didn't know about. And he had some things going on with him that I understood like 20 and 30 years later what was up. Because after that, there was a period where he stopped talking to me. His grandmother was incredibly nice to me. Mamaw, they called her. And she stayed in touch with me like till the end of her life and always talked about how Shawn appreciated my playing. She was like, Shawn always said you were the best musician. She was so sweet up until her death, and I miss her, She was the pipeline to Shawn Lane. So now I'm deciding to make a documentary based on my years with him. I'm going to go to Memphis, interview some people, get some footage and things like that. I want to get in touch with some people who knew him before I did and who knew him afterward, like Jonas Hellborg, what happened when he joined Jonas's band and stuff like that. And so you're going to hear more about that. I'll pursue some executive production on this because I'm the only guy that can do it. I wrote diaries down. I have it in my spiral notebooks about what went down at each venue. I can remember right now, Monterey, California, how we did this sound check, and Shawn was so pissed off. He comes back in the green room. He goes, "I ought to drink a half of every beer in here just to piss these motherfuckers off." I was like, what happened? He was just unhappy about the way they were rushing him through the sound check. And it was just funny at the time. A lot of funny things. And then there was the instructional video. So I'm going to save all that stuff for my Shawn Lane documentary. And keep an eye out. It'll happen inside the next 365 days.